Hi, and welcome to Soundspell. The language to literacy architecture reveals how speech becomes progressively organized into smaller and smaller units. Once we understand which layer a child can access, we know what to teach next. In the previous video, we explored Level 1, interest in sounds. At Level 1, children become aware of sound. They notice voices, environmental sounds, music, rhythm, and changes in tone. They learn to tune in and pay attention. But awareness of sound is only the beginning. The next question is, can the child hear words? Not read them, not spell them, not analyze the sounds within them. Simply hear them. In level 2, speech is no longer one continuous stream. Words emerge. This brings us to level 2, word awareness. Most teachers focus on letters and sounds. Yet before children can work with letters and sounds, they need to understand something much more fundamental. They need to understand that spoken language is made up of words. This sounds obvious to adults because we already know it, but children are not born knowing where one word ends and another begins. Think about spoken language for a moment. When we speak, we don't pause between every word. Speech arrives as a continuous stream. Children hear this stream of language all day long. Word awareness develops when they begin to recognize that this stream is made up of separate words. This is a major developmental step. Children are no longer simply noticing sounds, they are beginning to organize sounds. This is where one of the most important ideas in the language to literacy architecture, Level 1 asks, does the child notice sounds? Level 2 asks, does the child notice words? The developmental shift is significant. At level 1, the child becomes capable of noticing sound and tuning in. At level 2, the child becomes capable of hearing that speech is structured. They begin to recognize that sentences are made up of separate words. This is where several important abilities begin to develop. The child starts hearing word boundaries. They begin to recognize where one word ends and the next begins. They begin tracking words in sequence. They learn that words occur in a particular order. They begin isolating individual words within a sentence, and they start organizing spoken language into meaningful units. This may seem simple, but it lays the foundation for everything that follows. Before children can identify syllables, they must first recognize words. Before they can identify phonemes, they must first recognize words. Before they can read words, they must first hear words. The sequence matters. So what does word awareness actually look like? A child with developing word awareness can identify the first word in a sentence. They can tell you the last word. They can count how many words they heard. They can repeat words in order. They understand that sentences are made up of separate word units. These are not reading skills. These are listening and language skills. Everything is happening through spoken language. No print is required. One of the most common mistakes in literacy instruction is moving too quickly into phonics. Teachers often assume that because children can hear speech, they automatically understand its structure. But hearing speech and understanding its structure are not the same thing. Some children need explicit opportunities to notice words. When this foundation is missing, phonics can feel confusing and difficult because the language structure underneath phonics has not yet been fully established. The good news is that word awareness develops naturally through listening, play, rhythm, repetition, songs, stories, and conversations. And it can be strengthened through simple activities. Let me show you 3 examples. Activity 1. First, next, last word. Say a short sentence, for example, read a book. Ask, what is the first word? Then, what is the next word? Finally, what is the last word? This activity helps children hear words as separate units within a sequence. They are learning that words have positions and order. Activity 2. Word count clap. Say a sentence slowly, such as, clap your hands. Clap once for each word. Then invite children to clap with you. Ask, how many words did you hear? Show me with your fingers. This activity helps children hear that a sentence is made up of individual word units rather than one continuous stream of speech. Activity 3. Word detectives. Choose a target word, such as, today we are listening for the word clap. Say a few simple sentences such as, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Did you hear the word clap? Give them another sentence such as, if you're happy and you know it, stamp your feet. Ask again, did you hear the word clap? This activity encourages children to listen carefully and isolate individual words within connected speech. Notice something important. None of these activities involve print. There are no letters, no reading, and no spelling. Children are learning to listen to language and organize what they hear. That is the purpose of level 2. So how do you know if a child needs support at this level? Watch for children who struggle to identify the first word in a sentence. Watch for children who cannot count words accurately. Watch for children who lose track of word order. Watch for children who find it difficult to isolate a specific word within a sentence. These children may need more experience with word awareness before moving into more advanced sound analysis. Strong literacy begins in foundations that are often invisible. Word awareness is one of those foundations. When children recognize that spoken language is made up of words, they are preparing for the next stage of development, and that is where we are heading next. In level 3, we move from words to syllables. Children begin breaking words into larger sound chunks. The structure becomes more detailed, the listening becomes more precise, and the journey towards reading continues. If you'd like more practical activities to build word awareness, I've created a free word awareness activity guide. The link is in the description below. Continue the journey with me and join the Soundspell Telegram channel for updates and articles. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.